Let's go to the phones beginning in Knoxville, Tennessee. Adam, thanks for calling the Line of Fire.
Yes, thanks for having me on. I want to mention a few things that seem to be a topic you brought up today. You mentioned there are different ways people worship Christ and what they believe, and in truth, that's what I believe makes America great, is that you can worship or not worship, or worship Christ or worship someone else. We have amazing freedom here, and we're not like in the Ukraine where we're being forced to register our property and all this stuff. We had a guy in Knoxville, I believe it was in 2008, who said, I thought I'd like to do something good for this country. And what he decided to do, and he said he was a Christian man, he decided to go into a Universalist church and start shooting at people with a shotgun during a children's play. And anyone can read about this. I would not prefer to say his name, lest give any notoriety to this man who did such a horrible act. But I think we can agree that some people are extremists. One of the things that this guy said in his manifesto was homosexuality was a big problem. It was the liberals pushing this agenda, and that they were doing it in the mass media, and it was just those liberals, and he wished he could take action against the liberals. And this liberal church that supports the Unitarians often say, like, we believe.
Yeah, and just Adam, just in the interest of getting to the specific point or question.
Sure, I'd like to ask you three questions to end, and go ahead. I'll let you respond. But I'd love to ask you three questions if you'd let me. If I do, you don't have something, that's great too. But go ahead.
No, I'm trying to get to your questions.
Sure. Well, my questions are this, and I'd love for you to answer just specifically, and you can elaborate. My first question is this. Right now in America, there are a lot of states where an employer can just fire someone straight because they're gay, and it's perfectly legal. They can say, you're gay, I don't want you, you're fired. Do you think that should be legal in the United States, just to fire someone because they're gay? Yes or no, or elaborate.
Yeah, happy to elaborate. No, if you found out, if an employer found out that someone identified as homosexual, and based on that, they said they're just going to fire them, no, of course I don't agree with that. If the person was acting in a way that was considered disruptive, let's say the person was at a Christian bookstore, and if someone, say, identified as transgender, and a man wanted to come in dressed as a woman and said, hey, that's contrary to our values and it's disruptive here, that would be like anything else. But no, if someone was living a certain way and the employer discovers that and says, we found out that you're same-sex attracted or that you have a boyfriend, no, I don't believe that's right to be able to fire it just for that reason.
Right.
Next question.
Well, my next question is, if my church, let's say I go to a Unitarian church, and we say, well, our views are that two consenting adults can marry, and you don't have to. You can say, let me just say this. You can say that's not a marriage. Two men, two women marrying, that is not a marriage in my book. And I stand by your ability to call it not a marriage. I'm fine with that. But are you okay with my church saying, well, we think that's all right for two consenting adults? Would you say
you could perform a marriage ceremony, Adam? Your church could perform a marriage ceremony with 3 people, with 8 people, with a person and a pet, with a person and a Bible. Whatever. Here, Adam. Hey, Adam.
Okay.
I got my phone lines totally jammed. I normally can only have one question. I am trying to respond to you.
Animals is ridiculous.
No, Adam. There are churches that have blessing ceremonies with animals. Look, it's ridiculous to call 2 men coming together or 2 women coming together marriage. It has nothing to do with marriage. However, if a church wants to perform, I'm answering your question.
Sure,
all right. If a church any group has the right to do what they want as long as they're not breaking the law. If they're calling it a religious ceremony, if they want to have a same-sex blessing ceremony and call it marriage, if they want to do it as a polygamous union and call it marriage, that's between them and God. I utterly reject it. I won't recognize it as marriage, the polygamous union or the same-sex union or some other union, okay? Or 2 adult brothers who want to come together. If the church wants to do it, that's their business. They can call it what they want. They can say hocus pocus, or they can say the name of the Lord. That's all between them and God. I'm not going to recognize it, but of course, that's part of religious liberty.
Cool. I agree that that's the way we should do it, and I think the government should treat everyone equally. And my final question is, and feel free to answer this any way you like, and thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Without mentioning the Bible at all, and let's just say I have to mention the Bible, what is wrong with homosexuality? And I won't rebuttal. I'll let you have whatever you want. But without mentioning the Bible at all, what is wrong with being gay?
Well, being same-sex attracted, you can be one of the finest human beings on the planet. You can be one of the kindest, most compassionate human beings, one of the most hardworking, best neighbor, friend, etc., etc. So all of the above in terms of being human beings, but in terms of the practice of homosexuality, sure, there are many things. God did not physically design a man
Whoa,
to
whoa,
be
whoa,
with a
whoa. I
man.
said
Wait,
without the
Adam,
Bible.
Adam, you asked me to answer. You said you weren't going to respond, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
but I
trying
said
to.
without the Bible, though. I said without the Bible, what
Oh,
is wrong?
I didn't use the Bible.
Okay, but you said God. That's
Well,
part of the
I didn't
Bible.
use the Bible. So
Okay.
you want to say without? Okay, fine. Men are not physically designed to be with men. Women not physically designed to be with women. They're unable to reproduce, which is a terrible shame because most human beings want to be able to reproduce. The only way you can reproduce is with a male and female. In addition to that, sexually transmitted diseases are much, much, much higher, off the charts, especially with men, because we weren't designed for that. One part of the body was made to expel feces, not to have sexual relations, just to be clear on that. And then with it, we see the ongoing chain of events. Once someone says we need to normalize this, what you ultimately say is we need to normalize however I identify, which leads to 50 categories of gender on Facebook and on and on. So, in and of itself, if you just had, without the technology that we have today and in vitro fertilization and things like that, if you just put homosexual men and women on an island, they would not be able to enjoy the benefits of family. They would not be able to reproduce their progeny for the next generation. Two of them could not come together. And the beautiful sacred union of coming together in marriage and reproducing the unique union of what comes out of you, they couldn't do that, which is very, very sad and tragic. Also, excuse me, on top of that, the ideal scenario is for a child to be raised by mother and father. And when you have two men or two women, you guarantee that can't happen. Hey, Adam, if you stay there, I'm happy to send you a free copy of my book, A Queer Thing Happened to America. If you'll read it, let Dwight know, and we will be right back.